Dry January. I mean, if there's 1 month when you need to drink like a fish, it's January.
New Year's resolutions. New year, new me. Sod off.
I said, how do you think your life's working out? He said, all right. I said, you sure about that? You're 45 years old and you're bunking the fares. Grow up.
So, Kevin, we're kicking off with Meghan's cooking show.
While Americans struggle with the cost of living and while they're traumatised in the aftermath of that terrible terrorist attack, Meghan thought this was the ideal time to launch this happy, snappy cooking show.
Should we take a look at it? It looks wonderful.
I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. Surprising people with moments that let them know I was really thinking of them.
What? This is probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
Guy snoring.
It's basically Meghan and her rich mates in California going to a house that she pretends is hers. It's not.
Is that not her house?
No, it's not her house.
That's weird.
It's like a studio. They borrowed another house to pretend it's hers, and she makes sort of hummus.
Well, that looked like a Victoria sponge.
Yeah, and cakes, yeah. So she says it's not about perfection, it's about joy. It's about telling her friends that she's been thinking of them with these lovely dishes that she makes. So it's a bit like, you know, I like cooking.
Yeah.
Amateur cook.
I can cook.
Well, I mean, you're a professional, but if it's like me saying, right, I'm going to make a series based on me in the kitchen making nice food for my mates. Who gives a about that? There's no reason to do it at all. It's so tone deaf in the aftermath of this terrible terrorist atrocity, plus the fact millions of Americans are having a hard time trying to get by, trying to keep a roof over their heads, trying to feed the kids, and she's there going, oh, look, I made some hummus for my friends.
Do we think it'll be better than polo? I will reserve judgment, but my God, I'll be judging it.
Yeah. We'll all watch the first one.
Trained staff at barriers.
Trained staff at barriers.
Yeah. What have you got a problem with these people who ensure you can get on your...
Well, they don't know, do they? So there is this kind of, this plethora of people at the train barriers. When you get off the tubes, you come up the escalators at Liverpool Street, London Bridge or whatever, and there are many, if not dozens, of these TfL-suited employees standing around. There are loads of them, and I suspect that there's probably a ratio of staff to barriers where predominantly you see at Liverpool Street or London Bridge, let's say 6,
or across the
8,
UK.
10, and it seems to me that they do literally nothing. Now, I've had quite a look at this. The average TfL employee earns about £40,000. Now, I use the tube a lot, as I'm sure you guys do as well. I have never seen, ever, in all of my years, any of these barrier monkeys doing anything other than talking to each other about what was on the telly last night, or what was holiday, where they're going on holiday, or a bit of gossip. Now, so I don't know what their function is. They're obviously some kind of unionised thing there, whereby they have to be there. They serve no purpose. They cost a fortune, and this is against a backdrop. New news, there are now 1,300 employees of TfL that earn over £100,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. What do they do? I hadn't really thought about it, but what do they do? They chat to each other.
They wear a nice uniform.
I'll tell you another really annoying aspect to tube stations, particularly near to Talk Towers,
Other people?
London Bridge, is this new phenomenon. Time and time again, there are like 50 coppers standing there, looking at passengers as they come off. And if just maybe, they get a city boy with a wrap of cocaine and the country will become crime-free. Get out there and arrest some people. Do some crime busting. What are you doing standing there?
But these barrier muppets as well, whenever you see someone push through the barrier and evade their fare, which is obviously a big, big problem.
Yeah, which they do all the time.
Let's be clear, people evading their fare means that fares go up, and those of us that are honest, although I was actually once prosecuted for fare evasion, but let's not go there. That's not relevant to the story.
Well, I don't know.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe you might want to dig into that a little bit. However, all you hear...
It's bitter,
all you hear from the barrier muppets is oi or stop. And that's it. So I don't quite know what function they perform. The other thing is, I
want to task you with something, Russell.
OK, a project.
Yeah, I've got a project for you. Have you thought of asking them?
No, I once took a picture of
What
them.
is it that you
hold
dorks
on.
do?
I once took a picture of them, and let's just say that did not go down very well.
Well, they've got a camera.
It was a public place. You're
haven't they
entitled
got a
to take
camera
picture.
on their thing?
And I was and it was literally a huddle of 4 or 5 of them over a phone. So clearly they were looking at some kind of YouTube video or some kind of TikTok thing. And I obviously was going to use it in evidence against them.
I think, I've got to be honest, Russell, I want to give you this, but I think you are motivated by the rather large fine you got for buying the wrong ticket once.
Yeah, which was huge.
I've got this guy, so...
It was huge.
So I came...
It cost me a lot of money.
Is it? You're an inveterate, you're a recidivist when
I'm
it comes to
conflicted.
rail.
I'll try to say.
I came through a barrier the other day. You know, you get these people who come bursting through when you go through. So I go through and this guy, middle-aged, would have been about 45, and he comes bursting through. So I was walking beside him. I said, how's your life working out? He said, what do you mean? I said, how do you think your life's working out? He said, all right. I said, you sure about that? You're 45 years old and you're bunking the fares. Grow up.
But the barrier Muppets won't do anything about it.
I think, in fairness, they will shout, oi.
Oi or stop. So
They don't. They just let them
a
do
complete
it.
waste
frankly.
of time. And look, the point is hugely subsidised by the public purse, of course. So that is why I object, and I am very grumpy about their lack of action.
So
and
would you
purpose.
rather see less or none?
None.
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 So perhaps they could just be a recording, because they like a recording on the tube, where every so often a voice just goes, oi,
Yeah.
as somebody goes through the back.
Well, no, in fairness, you can have one, I guess, because every now and again your ticket doesn't work and they have to kind of very nonchalantly tut and let you through, don't they? That's normally what happens. What happened to a friend of mine fairly recently was walking up to 2 of them talking because their ticket didn't work and trying to ask them to open the barriers, to be met by the response, hang on, I'm talking.
Don't
Because he was
interrupt.
talking to his mate.
Don't
He was talking to
interrupt.
his mate about, his luxury holiday in the Maldives, or no doubt wherever he'd been the week before.
Well, on those salaries, yes. Now, New Year's resolutions, OK? New year, new me. Sod off, quite frankly. They never last. Why does anybody bother? You know, they're done by March.
It is
Well, I don't.
I'm gonna do this. Have you made any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, to be more assertive and more grumpy, I think,
Oh.
which I should
So just
achieve.
carrying on as normal?
Exactly.
OK.
Mine's
What
to,
about you?
To get up earlier.
Have you got up earlier yet?
So my actual resolution was to make sure that I was up by 8 o'clock, and so far I've done that.
Well done, Kev.
Yes.
Well, obviously,
Setting the bar low for
For
achievement.
me, it's more about the fact that how the whole sort of marketing thing around it preys on people who are like, right, I've sat on my arse all Christmas, stuffed my face with chocolate. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going, and the gyms are onto this.
Of course they are.
Because they're like, you're in for 3 months.
Yeah.
And most gyms have a kind of thing where it's like, excellent, we've got all those people for 3 months, of which there won't
be
use
there.
any equipment at all. They won't
Yeah.
wear the gym out at all. And it's just that thing of like, I don't know, it's that whole thing of like the grand gesture. I'm going to do this, because my good lady wife, I was a little ill over the Christmas period, quite keen for me to stop smoking.
Yeah.
I think I'll do it maybe around March.
But that's not your resolution.
No, absolutely.
Are you going to do it in March then?
I
Probably.
might do. I'm
Probably
going to be
not.
55 in April. I thought maybe don't smoke beyond 55. But I'm not going to do it in New Year.
You don't sound that convinced or committed.
Well, no, I'm not. But I think, but it is that thing of just, just another way of virtue signalling, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, what's the point?
New year, new me.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah, and it's always funny on January the 2nd or January the 1st, the streets are full of fat gits with tracksuits and red faces.
Yeah,
And you're going to go
Don't
jogging
get me
every
started
day.
on that athleisure wear. But you have something that sort of joins this, which is dry January.
I hate dry January. First of all, it's sanctimonious and it's puritanical, and I hate that. I hate more and more. You have this thing about, don't drink veganuary, don't drink in October or whatever it is. Why is it all these initiatives to make, to raise money for
It's
charity
terrible for my
involve
business.
us giving up something? But anyway, dry January. I mean, if there's 1 month when you need to drink like a fish, it's January.
But also-
it's ridiculous.
Support your local hostelry. Don't give up drinking.
Yeah.
Because, like, what we see in the restaurants is there's not less people. It's just the spend goes down because they're all drinking tap water.
Yeah.
They're all on dry January. They're all there through gritted teeth, wishing each other a happy new year.
Yeah.
But Kev, are you saying that you need a drink to get over the shock of the credit card bill landing on your mat at the end of January?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, partly that, but it's just the whole thing of January. It is the most depressing month of the year.
And the longest month.
So you need the booze.
Longest month between paydays.
Do you get extra drunk in January then? Do you
wouldn't say I
get more
get
drunk
extra-
in January than you did at Christmas, just to sort of counteract it?
I probably do drink more in January than I do at Christmas.
Good for you.
But dry January gets on my nerves, and the adjunct to that is having to say Happy New Year for about 2 to 3 weeks.
Do you?
I'm beginning to cut it off.
No, I've had this conversation today where the cut-off.
What's the date
Exactly.
line?
No one knows.
I
That's the
think- well,
point.
Hearing we shall lay this down as official. It should be the weekend after the 1st. After that weekend, you can't say it.
Yeah.
So, like,
I think
last Sunday.
But today was sort of my first day back at work, so I've said it to a few people. I don't think I'll be saying.
What about if we? I've got a good
half a
idea.
month.
I've got a good idea for a system. Though. So Russell's right. Leave it to the first weekend. Give it say a week after
week.
the first.
I think a week's
after the first. Give it 7 days, and then after that, if anyone says Happy New Year to you, just reply. You, and that will perhaps stamp it.
It's funny,
all
but I was
right.
having this conversation before we came on upstairs with one of the makeup girls. She said, look, we should say it to anyone that we haven't seen since the
but I don't know,
I said,
but
"Well,
I
hang on a second,
don't-
what? If it's August, if it's August the 15th, and I haven't seen Mark Wogan wandering through the corridors at all. Hey, Happy New Year, Mark. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Happy Old Year.
How fantastically irritating would that be, though?
Yes. What
Happy
should try
New
it.
Year.
Just keep it going.
It'd be quite difficult to
it
remember
going.
to do it by the time you got to July, wouldn't it? Oh, by the way, Happy New Year.
I haven't seen you since December the 15th, so happy
People
New
might
Year.
think you've got early onset.
But we need to get a system going. As I say, the you system I think is a good idea because the
it's a
system
little harsh,
it
Kev,
it just dwindles out, doesn't it? People just keep saying it. Around about the last week of January, they give up.
Oh, with
so,
the
But there is
we
another
need
aspect.
a moratorium.
There is another aspect to this, is those that are saying it anyway don't mean it.
Well, yeah, you never actually mean it. Yeah. Happy New Year. Couldn't give a toss what kind of year you have,
So
really.
when you say to someone, how are you? You don't want the answer. You don't want anyone to
That's
reply.
right. Yeah. Well, I got this terrible back. Actually.
Do you really want to know?
Terrible problems at home. Shut up.
I'm glad you asked that. Yeah.
Obviously, with the new year, you look to tidy up your finances, all that kind of thing.
Bit of a home audit.
Yeah, a bit of a home audit, and you want to cancel a few subscriptions, don't you,
I
Rob?
like this one.
I do, but
I'm with you.
the problem is now that increasingly we get sucked into signing up to things that at the time they seem like a really, really good idea. But there's a little tiny bit of small print at the bottom of the page sometimes where it says, this subscription will auto-renew. And of course, you don't see it, you accept and you pay your 13 quid a month for your Netflix or your LinkedIn Premium or your Audible subscription or whatever. Lo and behold, then 12 months down the line, you get another debit off your bank account, which you weren't expecting, of 86 quid or whatever. And you think, what the hell is that? Audible, 86 quid?
Sort of like joining a gym.
And then, and we'll come on to call centres later, but if you dare to actually try and call them to find out what it is, good luck, because you won't get anywhere. You'll disappear into a hole. However, if you then try and find the page on their website under account management and so on, you can't bloody find it for love nor money in order to find out what the money was for. Then eventually you discover that it was an auto-renew. So then you think, well, hang on a sec, it's a bit like a gym membership, Mark. Sign up to this 9 months ago, 12 months ago, haven't used it since, I don't want it, so I want my money back. You have zero chance of getting that money back. And then, what's worse, some of them now have a thing where you can't cancel unless it's within the 3-month anniversary of that sign-up. So in other words, these subscription businesses, it's a complete racket, a complete take-on. They're
Well, particularly
having us
the
over.
streaming services.
Yes.
Streaming services are almost impossible to remove from your life.
And of course, they know that you've forgotten. So by the time it
But
auto-renews, it's too late.
given the way terrestrial TV's going, I'm quite glad.
Now listen,
streaming services.
this is a helpful show, and I have practical advice for people. I haven't been that. I've done it more and more.
I mean,
put
talkTV
all of
is
these,
free,
Yeah,
by the way.
this is
Just
free
to be clear,
advice.
this
to
is
you.
free.
This is free advice. Put all of these subscriptions onto one credit card.
Yes.
Right. All onto the set. I've effectively done it myself. I've done it as much as I can. I've got lots of things on one credit card, and when you feel that you're paying all these subscriptions. Just don't renew the credit or cancel the card. Cancel the card, and then they'll come back to you within seconds. Bad news, I'm afraid. Your card is not bad news for me. You're
Martin Lewis, eat your heart out. Kevin O'Sullivan.
That is good advice.
Expert.
That is good advice.
Consumer expert Kev. Kev's Kitchen.
I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
Kev's Kitchen and Kev's Consumer Corner coming this year.
This is just a forum. This is just a forum for ideas for shows for Kev.
Consumerism with a slightly aggressive tone.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. It's like you just put them all on one card, and when you're done, just cancel the card.
And then the ones that you want to renew, you put on a new card.
You just go again. Yeah.
Well, because you do sign up to a load of things unwittingly,
particularly this time of year.
Yeah. And then you end up thinking, what is also coming out of my account? Anyway, I want to talk about a more serious matter, which is flooding. Given the climate that we have lived in for however long, why have we not got on top of this yet?
It's unbelievable.
Why are we still flooding? But then also, on top of that, those people who see a body of water and think, I can definitely drive across that.
Oh, yeah, even though it's 4 feet deep.
It's like, it's water. That's a car. They don't mix. Don't do it. But really, how have we not got on top of the flood issue?
Yeah, and how is it that, places like, Moscow and Siberia and Canada, Greenland, all these places have airports and stations, all of which function amid the most torrential snowstorms you can possibly imagine, 5 foot deep. They function. Yeah. We get 5 snowflakes and the country falls to pieces.
Well, no, I was watching the news yesterday and there was a school had been closed in Scotland. They showed a picture of the school. There was barely any snow on it.
No.
Yep. Well, it's like with yellow and amber weather warnings. Also, this thing this week where a load of train services were cancelled because the union, I think it might have been ASLEF as usual, told their train drivers they couldn't walk along a pathway because it had, wait for it, 2 centimetres of snow on it. They were not allowed to walk on it. So
but did you see all the flooded train lines? I mean, you couldn't get between London and Sheffield.
So we do have a problem when it comes to we decide to build on floodplains, which is never really a good idea. No. But the other thing that doesn't get talked about too much is the fact that local authorities don't bother unblocking the drains anymore. No. So now, OK, when it comes to big floods, I know that might not be the reason, but when it comes to, roads flooding in, ordinary town centres and so on, a big part of the problem is lazy local authorities that don't get into the drains.
They're not getting rid of their fatbergs, are they?
No.
Now, moving on, call centres.
Yeah, so I referenced this earlier, didn't I, in terms of trying to get through to anyone. Now, I don't know if you've noticed since the pandemic, the pandemic apparently is still an excuse for shoddy call centre behaviour. So whenever you try and ring your bank, your insurance company or whoever, you will have noticed that the call waiting time now is considerable. I mean, I've waited in excess of 20, 25, 30 minutes. But what really grinds my gears is not now the fact that you literally, whenever my wife says to me, you got to ring the insurance company to do X, I think, oh, mate, that's literally a morning out. That's a whole half day out of my day now. But is the pathetic, irritating, fake messages in a cheery voice with a bit of music behind them, which then says, your call is very important to us, blah, 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 blah. Well, clearly, if your call was important to them, they would have more people to answer the bloody phone.
Or the one where you call the number and then you are just directed back to the website.
Yeah.
That's my favourite.
Or directed round in circles.
I'd like
you have to keep pressing
to a human.
Yeah, I had a situation over the last few days, actually, where I had to get in touch with a health organisation. Basically, it was useless, So they came back to me with emails from the customer service. This is Danielle from customer service. We hope that our service has been. This is your. Is that okay? And there's no phone number there.
No.
So I write back and say, well, it's not okay actually because you promised me an appointment tomorrow and you're offering me one in 4 days. So can I have that appointment that I was promised tomorrow morning? Never heard a thing again.
Or the response you get back is, we will answer your email within the next 10 working days.
Exactly.
I'd have thought, though, Kev, that you had your proctologist on speed dial.
Yeah, well, that was the problem.
The fun.
Damn,
just
damn guy was on holiday. I don't know. There's big money in props.
But it's also the live chat bot.
Yeah. I hate that.
Yeah. Hey,
They love it, don't they? Why don't you chat to us online? Because it doesn't really work. That's why.
Work, and you're not a real person.
Here's the other thing I hate along these lines: video calls. So they go, you do a video call, we can talk to each other. Right, so this is the big companies. So they come back and say, enable this. No, enable this. Enable this. Enable this. But they basically require you to completely reprogram your phone or your laptop. And in the end, it's still not fixed, by the way. And you end up, then it just fizzles out. You never get the video call to work.
No.
But the audio chatbots are the most hilarious things, aren't they? Because they're not quite right yet. So, the benefits of AI have not quite benefited those chatbots. They say, please tell us why you're calling. You say, to renew my house insurance. You're calling to cancel your house insurance.
That's right.
No, and you end up shouting at a machine and thumping the desk. You think, I'm actually not talking to anybody. I'm talking to a piece of code that maybe purposely is trolling me.
But what is it?
Well, it can't understand your speech impediment.
But might be my Essex speech.
Yes.
But what is it? What is it that corporations they've developed this allergy to any customer being able to talk to any of their employees?
No, you don't want to do that.
Why are they so averse to the idea of me being able to pick up a phone and call someone to discuss my problem?
I'd just like to
What
say,
is the problem there?
At Home Slice, you can phone us. We'll pick up the phone and you'll speak to somebody. Now, that is all.
And on that...
Apart from...
Are we really doing
We have an extra grump.
Oh, do we?
And this extra grump is Mrs. Quirk.
Are we really doing this?
Yes, you are.
I did say to you in jest that this was one of my gripes, but it is probably my biggest gripe of recent weeks, which is this. So we have a couple of cars at home. We share the cars, my wife and I. And we're a busy family. We have 3 daughters that we're constantly picking up from the station and so on. And habitually, perpetually, my wife will park in the driveway, will come into the house, and will, instead of putting the keys in the very conveniently placed Faraday box that I have in the hallway, convenient for all, so that we all know...
The Faraday box protects your car against thieves.
It's a particular thing.
It's a Faraday
It's a particular thing in Essex where loads of cars get stolen. So anyway, that's where it's supposed to go, not just to protect the car from being stolen, but so that we all know where the bloody keys are. So anyway, I then, in a rush, because I'm trying to get to the station to come and meet my friends here, for instance, I'll shout out, because I can't find the keys, darling, where are the keys to the car? She shouts back, in my pocket. Now, the problem with that is she has at least...
Your current pocket.
At least 10 coats.
Well, you've only got yourself to blame
in
for
the
that.
room where the Faraday box is. So I then have to start rifling through her pockets, which is, a whole different show, really. And it is a matter of much irritation to me that she can't just put the key in the box. I can't be the only person that has this problem when it comes to keys and spouses.
Well, we don't have a Faraday box, but we have...
Because you live in a nice area.
We have what is described as the tin.
Right.
So I will ask, obviously from a distance, because when you've been married a long time, you don't actually talk to each other in the same room.
At all.
You shout from room to room. But I will ask, where are the keys? To which the response would be, they're in the tin. To which my response was, I wouldn't be asking
if I had found them in the tin.
Exactly. They're where they normally are.
No, they're not. They're probably your keys, probably my wife's bloody coat pocket.
Yeah.
I think I know the solution. We all have to get rid of our wives.
Well, we'll have more cars.
On that note...
On that bombshell.
On that bombshell from Kev, thank you, Kev, for taking part, and thank you, Russell, as ever, for being here. And that's all for this week. Stay grumpy.